Hey, what's up guys? Hardleg Joe here with your deck profile for the 50-card Destiny Heroes deck. I'm just going to go through everything in here, and then I'll explain how it works. So for monsters, we got 3 Malicious, 3 Dynatag, 3 Celestial, 3 Drill Dark, 2 Decider, 3 Armageddon Knight, 3 Elemental Hero Shadow Mist, 2 Summoner Monk, 3 Lunalight Black Sheep, and 3 Destiny Hero Dark Angel. For our spells, we've got 3 Allure of Darkness, 3 Polymerization, 1 Reinforcements of the Army, 3 Destiny Draw, 1 Foolish Burial, 2 Mask Change, 3 Twin Twisters, 2 Pot of Acquisitiveness, 1 Mask Change Second, and 3 Shooting Star Bow Seal. For our extra deck, we've got 2 Destiny Hero Dystopia, 1 Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, 1 Masked Hero Enki, 2 Dark Law, 1 Utopia the Lightning, 1 Utopia Prime, 1 Dark Rebellion, 1 Utopia, Ragna Zero, Blade Armor Ninja, Silent Honor Arc, Castell the Skyblasting Musketeer, and Gagaga Cowboy. The side deck I will go over in a moment. So this is a strange deck. This is similar to a toolbox, but a little more random. It's more what I'd call a tool bag or a grab bag deck. In a toolbox deck, like a rank 4 toolbox, you would have cards that do nothing but make rank 4s, and then you'd have a bunch to choose from, each card being like a tool that you can pick out of the box for whatever situation you're in. This one is more like you're dumping a bunch of cards in the graveyard and you're drawing a bunch of cards. It's kind of random. You're going to get a random assortment of tools, and what you can make with that really kind of depends on the luck of the draw. So our main tools, one is Dark Law, which is of course just a standard lockdown card. Makes your opponent's cards banish so they don't have access to the graveyard, and every time they try to draw a card outside of their draw phase, they're banishing one from their hand, so it keeps them from getting card advantage. You could summon this with Mask Change or Mask Change Second. Mask Change is target any hero monster. It has to be dark for Dark Law, but all the Destiny heroes as well as the 1 elemental hero are all dark. Mask Change Second is just any monster that has a level, and again it has to be dark, so all our monsters here are dark. You could turn any of them into Dark Law with Mask Change too. You do have to discard a card, but that's fine because we have a whole lot of cards that work in the graveyard. So we do have a way to search Mask Change as well as Mask Change Second. That's with Elemental Hero Shadow Mist. If this is special summoned, you can add either of those from your deck to your hand, and you can special summon that with Summoner Monk. That's the only way we have to do it, by discarding a spell, which we have a lot of spells, so it's not too difficult to get off. Of course, you can also use Summoner Monk to get any of your other level 4s and make a rank 4 play. Mostly, though, you're just going to be drawing into these with your massive amounts of draw power. We have things like Allure of Darkness, which is draw 2 cards and then banish a dark monster, which again, we are all dark monsters, so you never have to worry about that. We've also got Destiny Draw, which lets you discard a Destiny hero and draw 2 cards, which again, we're mostly Destiny heroes and a lot have effects in the graveyard. We're also playing Pot of Acquisitiveness. This lets you target 3 of your banished monsters, shuffle them into the deck, and draw a card. Not just your banished monsters, but any banished monsters. So you can use this strategically with your opponent's cards, shuffle their ABC back and draw a card, or their Omegas back, or you could just use it in case you use 3 of your Allure of Darknesses, or anything else that banishes. Destiny Hero Celestial also lets you draw. If it's in the graveyard along with another Destiny hero and you have no cards in your hand, you can banish it and the other hero to draw 2 cards. All of those are going to help you get Mask Change along with the thing I already mentioned before. If you don't get Mask Change, then our second thing is to make Dystopia. Dystopia is the new Destiny Hero fusion. It's any 2 Destiny Hero monsters, so again, you have a lot of things to choose from. This has the effect that when it's summoned, you can target a level 4 or lower Destiny hero in your graveyard, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that card's attack, which is going to be 1600 most of the time, because that's the highest attack we have of any of the level 4 Destiny heroes. More importantly, it has the effect that if its attack is different from its original attack, you could target 1 card on the field, destroy it, and then return this card's attack to its original attack. So if your opponent tries to lower its attack with something like Dark Rebellion Ixie Dragon, you can bump it back up to 2800 and blow up Dark Rebellion Ixie Dragon. We have a few ways to do this with our deck itself, the most important one being Shooting Star Bow Seal. This one is decrease the attack of equipped monster by 1000 points, and it can attack your opponent's life points directly. So this is great because you equip it to him, he can then blow up a card, turn his attack back to 2800, and he can still attack directly. Just because you increase the attack doesn't destroy this or negate its effect. We also have this Destiny Hero Dynatag. This has the effect that if it's in the graveyard, you can banish it to increase a Destiny hero's attack by 1000. So again, it's banishing more cards. More importantly, if you put Dystopia up to 3800, it can get over things, and that effect lasts until the end of your opponent's next turn. So you could do this even during your main phase 2, and then any time during your opponent's turn, you can blow up a card by reverting his attack back to 2800. We can also use Polymerization to make Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. This is any 2 dark monsters on the field, so you can't use from your hand, they have to be on the field. It gains attack equal to 1 special summoned monster your opponent controls. It can steal the effect of a level 5 or higher monster your opponent controls into the end of the turn, and if this card is destroyed, you can destroy all special summoned monsters your opponent controls. So it's a pretty good card. It's kind of reactionary because your opponent has to have a monster. You don't want to make this first turn, and it could still be hit by spells and traps and stuff like that. But it's still pretty good, and you can get those monsters on the field pretty easily. Not as easily as you can get them in the hand, but it is possible. We also have Masked Hero Enki. I didn't mention him before because he's not as important as Dark Law. Most of the time you're going to be making this. But you can make this just the same way with Mask Change on any of your Dark Heroes. It has 2800 attack, so a fairly high beat stick if nothing else. It also has the effect that it can attack directly, but it does half damage, which is 1400. But combined with the fact that you're dealing like burn damage with Dystopia Guy or maybe attacking directly with him, putting those together should give you enough to get over a lot of things. Other than that, we just have a rank 4 toolbox. You can really run whatever you want. There's nothing specifically that's great. I'd probably recommend a Utopia the Lightning, and a Gaga Cowboy, and a Sky Blasting Musketeer. But everything else, you could just run whatever you feel like. I even put a couple in the side deck, some other options. Since you do run Warriors, you can make stuff like Excalibur and Blade Armor Ninja. And since you have Dark Monsters, you can make Master Key Beetle. We make these with a whole lot of level 4s that we have, and in particular Drill Dark. Drill Dark, when it's summoned, you can special summon another Destiny hero from your hand with attack that is less than or equal to this. Since all the level 4 Destiny heroes have 1600, you can easily just use this to go into any rank 4 you want. Drill Dark also does piercing damage when it attacks, which is not the most important thing, but it can come into use, especially against like stall decks or decks with small attack monsters. You can bump him up with Dynatag to 2600 and do a pretty decent amount of damage. He also works well with Dark Angel. This is a very interesting card. The controller of Dark Angel cannot activate spell effects at all. It can't activate actual spells, nor can it activate the effects of spell cards that activate in the graveyard, or activate the effects of spells already face up. And this is not just once per turn, it just negates all spells. And you can special summon this to your opponent's side of the field if you have 3 Destiny heroes in the graveyard. They're not going to be able to activate any spells unless they ram this into something or tribute with it. And if it does just stay there, then you can use Drill Dark because it has 0 attack, 0 defense, and attack over it doing piercing damage, and do a solid 1600 to 2600 damage depending on if you have Dynatag. It also has the effect that during your standby phase, you can banish this and another Destiny hero from your graveyard, and you and your opponent each put 1 spell card on top of your deck. I normally don't want to use that effect, both because you don't want to give your opponent any spell cards that they can use, especially since they'll get theirs before yours, since it's during your standby phase. But we also don't have a lot of spells that are key to the deck, maybe Polymerization. If you're playing this in a deck that uses Destiny Hero Diamond Dude, it can be a really good combo, or if you're playing some more one-of things like Raigeki, you can put that on top of the deck, which can be pretty useful. Other than that, we have Destiny Hero Malicious. You can banish this from the graveyard to summon another Destiny Hero Malicious from your deck. Just a good way to get dark monsters on the field. It can serve as a defense wall if need be, but mostly it's just a way to get Destiny heroes onto the field so you can do more fusion summons. Dynatag, I already mentioned, you can banish him from the graveyard. He has another effect that during damage calculation in either player's turn, when you would take battle damage, you can discard this card, you take no battle damage, and each player takes 1000. Which is another cool little tech. It can be used to get this in the graveyard. It can be used to prevent you from taking massive amounts of damage. It can do that extra 1000 burn damage to your opponent. Celestial, I already mentioned his draw effect. He also has the ability that if he declares an attack, you can target 1 face-up spell card your opponent controls, destroy it, and inflict 500 damage to your opponent. So this can get rid of pendulums and other face-up cards just by attacking on its own, while also dealing just that extra little 500 damage. Everything seems to deal burn damage. Drill Dark I covered. Decision Guy, level 6 or higher monsters your opponent controls cannot target this card, so if you're playing against like a fusion or a synchro deck, this can actually be used as a stall power. It also has 2 effects, and you can only use each one of them once per duel. The first one is if this is normal or special summoned, add a hero monster from your graveyard to your hand during the end phase. This is pretty good with Drill Guy if you want to reuse him, since he lets you special summon. You can summon both of these, make a rank 4, or use a fusion, and then during the end phase, use this effect to get Drill Guy back to your hand for next turn. The other effect is during either player's turn, when a card or effect would inflict damage to you, you can return this card to your hand and make the effect damage 0, so you can negate effect damage, which has never come up for me so far. We've got Armageddon Knight. This lets you send 1 dark monster from your deck to your graveyard when it's summoned. Great way to get Malicious into the graveyard, or Dynatag, or Celestial, or Shadow Mist. When Shadow Mist is sent to the graveyard, you can add any hero monster from your deck to your hand, which searches pretty much any of these guys. I already explained Summoner Monk. Lunalite Black Sheep we're using because you can discard it to add polymerization from your deck to your hand. There's a lot of cards that can do this, but we're using this one in particular because it's a dark monster. You can use it with Allure of Darkness and banish it. You can also use it as material for Starving Venom Fusion Dragon if you get it out on the field, so it just has a little bit of more tech that way. As for the rest of our spells, Allure of Darkness, draw power. Polymerization, obviously you need to get your fusions. Reinforcements of the army will search any of your level 4 warriors. Destiny Draw is more draw power and it gets your Destiny heroes in the graveyard. Foolish Burial lets you put all the ones I mentioned earlier into your graveyard. Twin Twister is just your spell trap removal, which also lets you discard, again, graveyard. How many times do I have to say graveyard? A lot? A lot. This is probably your least important card in the sense that if you need to side deck anything out, it would probably be this. If your opponent isn't playing as many spell traps, you can go Effect Negation with Forbidden Chalice, or maybe Forbidden Lance. You can also put in Royal Decree because we're playing no traps. Of course, I also want to mention that Chalice and Lance are decent techs in this anyway because they can be used to lower or raise Dystopia's attack, so you can use his effect even more. Pot of Acquisitiveness is just draw power. The mass change I already explained. You can change it out for a regular mass change as you want. I like the ability to turn possibly Armageddon Knight or Summoner Monk or one of these into a mass hero if need be. And then the Shooting Star Bow Seal, which is probably your second candidate if you need to go a little harder in the paint, maybe get some effect negation or trap negation. You can even do Call of the Haunted if you find out that one of these is of particular use to you and they keep destroying it. Call of the Haunted is a good way to get things back. You can also use it to get some of your materials back and refuse or make another rank 4. Last thing I just wanted to mention real quick is that you can also play Twin Swords of Flashing Light Trice. Works pretty good with Dystopia. There's a send one card from your hand to the graveyard. When you equip it, decrease the attack of the monster equipped by 500, and it can attack twice. You have to discard, so it's a little bit more difficult to use, but putting this on Dystopia, guys, pretty awesome. Attacking twice for 2800, and then having him blow up a card, or being able to put this on Starving Venom Fusion Dragon and having it attack twice is pretty good. The 500 lowering isn't as bad on some of these other monsters too if you're in a pinch. So there you go, there's your 50 card Destiny Hero deck. Sorry this is a little bit longer, but I had a lot more cards to go into and a lot trickier deck to explain. Next week I'll be looking at another Patreon sponsored deck. It's either going to be Yang Zings or Cyber Dragons. I haven't decided yet. It'll be one of those two. Until then, good luck. Have fun.